may not be able to do anything monetarily, but I could definitely help in other ways. And so we are here today with some lovely ladies, educators in the system across the country that are here to just give good positive feedback about what is motivating them and doing their work as teachers, as educators, as well as how they are making sure that they are practicing great self-care in the midst of this. This has not just started for them. They've been in the system for a while. And so some have already tapped into the virtual experience. And I want them to just talk about that and making sure that other people are really becoming more in tune to embracing this. I know it's different. And I think change can be a wonderful thing if you just allow it to be. And so I'm going to allow the ladies to introduce themselves briefly and just kind of just get this whole thing started. So I'm not going to call on you. I just want you to go forth. All right. So go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Latricia Dean, and I've been an educator for going on 13 years. I'm entering my 13th year. I've served in multiple capacities as a teacher, as a school counselor, as a therapist, and now I am the Director of Support Services at a local school in Jackson.
I'll go next because I've worked with Dr. Dean before. My name is Kristen Harrington, formerly Kristen Lucas, just got married this summer. I am going into my 4th year of teaching. I was in marketing before switching careers. I started my teaching career at Smilo Prep in Jackson, Mississippi, and I moved to Durham, North Carolina this summer, and I will be starting at Maureen Joy Charter School there.
Good morning. My name is Jacqueline McClendon. I am entering my 20th year in education. I've had experience with everything from being a director of a daycare, writing curriculum, um, serving as interventionist, classroom teacher for grades 1 through 4, plus 6th grade ELA and social studies. I've also served as local president of Jackson Association of Educators here in Jackson, Mississippi, and I am eager to start my second year, full year at Smith Elementary School and getting into this virtual thing.
It's my alma mater.
I'm Kelly Hart. I'm the principal at New Hope Christian School. This is my 15th year in education. I actually started off as a teacher, a 6th grade language arts teacher at Chastain Middle School in Jackson Public Schools. So after about 10 years in Jackson Public Schools, being a teacher, literacy coach, interventionist, everything, assistant principal, I decided to go to our church, New Hope Baptist Church, to serve as the assistant principal between preschool and elementary divisions. In that time, the principal actually retired, and here we are.
Awesome.
Hello, I'm Lydia Branson. I'm going into my 12th year in education. I spent 4 years in JPS, 4 years at New Hope Christian School, and now I'm going into my 4th year here in Dallas. I don't live in Dallas, but I teach in Dallas. I'm now a 1st grade teacher. This is my 3rd year teaching first, and I taught kinder my 1st year. So y'all pray for me, okay? All right.
All right, thank you all. And so one of the first questions that I have for you, you all, is how do you start and end your day with self-care? Because that is so, so important. I know that over the years, I've increased my level of self-care because I truly love myself. And so I think it's so important that we recognize just some routine things that we can do in order to heighten our self-care and be positive and just motivated to get the day going. So, Kelly, I'm gonna let you start first with that one.
Okay, great. So what I didn't tell you all is that I'm also the mother of 3. I have a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 7-year-old. So when we talk about self-care, that's a new thing for me. It's something I've had to be really intentional about. because, of course, some mornings I don't get to wake up and take control of my day. Sometimes my day takes control of me before I even get to open my eyes. And so I have just had to become very intentional. I've learned that I do better when I feel like it's an assignment. I guess that's just the teacher in me. And so, as opposed to, creating my own devotions or doing my own thing or reading my Bible on my own, I've just recently started purchasing books, devotional books, specifically ones that have assignments, something I have to do. They're listed by days. So I feel like if I'm on the wrong day, I'm trying to catch up and make sure that I'm on the right day. And I've just kind of taken an extra step to get up earlier, even if that means an hour earlier than I used to make sure that that kind of stuff happens. That's something that I've been doing, especially since COVID hit, because it just takes a lot more, especially at the beginning in March, when I know you all agree, we didn't know what was going to happen from day to day. We left for spring break and have not seen our children since we left for spring break. So that's something. Something else that's not quite as deep, but it is still a part of self-care, is my nails. I really and truly, that was something this year. So every year I would say after I had kids, okay, this year I'm going to wash my face every day with the stuff I know I'm supposed to. This year I'm going to do my hair. I'm going to make sure that my hair is done. I'm going to take it out of the ponytail. And so this year was the year for my nails. And of course, COVID hit and that killed it. So I found another way. And I started using these color streak strips, and it lets me do them myself. I sit down, take the time to do them. I do them with my daughter, and it seems really, really small, but it is so therapeutic for me. And it gives me intentional time and space, even with my daughter, because I'm sure, especially the administrators on the call, we're not off work. We've never been off work, and we don't get off. With the office being in our houses, we work all day. We check email all day. We respond all day, all night. So those are the things, the simple things I've been doing for self-care.
And I've been doing my nails now for the last, I don't even know how long, but it's been a while, because I was putting so much money out there, and I was like, but I was getting tips from them and watching them intently. And so I bought everything, and I save a whole lot of money, but it's so therapeutic, because I'll end up sitting there 3 hours doing my nails. And it's just like, oh, I didn't realize it, but I'm very, very relaxed in doing that. So that's a wonderful thing. And I do want to get that information shared, because support Kelly on this business venture. She didn't add that she's involved with doing that with her daughter. So that's a collaboration and incorporating entrepreneurship with her child as well. So I applaud you for that, Kelly. All right, Miss or Dr. Dean, go for it.
Absolutely. Ms. Hart, I definitely resonated with you about the intentionality of having a self-care routine. I think in March, I realized that COVID granted me the opportunity to do a lot of reflection, and my idea of self-care has evolved greatly from what it was prior to COVID to now that I have all of this time at home, which I really don't have a lot of time because I still work, but it granted me more time to reflect. I realized that self-care is about recognizing and working on the areas I needed to heal in. And I just had a lot of time to just sit in introspection, just reflect on like my toxic traits to make sure that I am proactively and intentionally working on that, because part of self-care is, as Shayna said, is like loving yourself and knowing who God created you to be and being, excellent in the gift and the purpose that He has set for your life. So healing from areas that I need to heal in. So much of my self-care routine is revolve around just self-love, self-care. I practice gratitude. So I wake up in the morning and just intentionally focus on things that I am grateful for, instead of like my to-do list or some issue that I have to solve from work or some, teacher or educator that I need to support. I force myself to practice gratitude. And that is a skill that I thought I had down pat, but COVID made me realize that I did not. So practicing gratitude has helped me cultivate a love of life and a love of self, being intentional about my devotions and like picking a topic in an area that I need to grow in. So one thing that I did was read more about wisdom. How do I operate in wisdom just throughout the day where I am making decisions about people's lives? And I don't want that kind of pressure, just to do it based on self. I want to involve like our creator in it as well. So being intentional about my devotion, prayer. Um, I I have to be prayerful throughout the day. That is also a skill that I thought I had down pat, and I did not, because I would pray in the morning, pray in the night, but in between, I still had to, have some kind of sanity throughout the day. And self care for me is also just creating barriers. I'm a workaholic. I did not know I was. I like to work, work, work. I either work, 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 or I procrastinate. So, in order for me to have like a healthy balance, I had to identify like barriers such as like I'm starting work this time and I'm cutting it off. No, exceptions about that. So barriers have helped me practice a lot of self-care and self-love. But other practical things that I do is like decluttering. I think Miss Lucas and I talked about the Marie Kondo, I think that's what it is, of decluttering your life, because
Very
stuff,
kind.
but yeah, Kondo, because when your life is cluttered or your space is cluttered, that is a reflection of your mind being cluttered. So I've been practicing decluttering my space along with decluttering my mind and taking walks. Like sometimes I focus so much on like physical, like I gotta do like hardcore cardio, which is great. But taking walks and like being very intentional about breathing in the air that God has created, relishing in the sun, just stuff like that. Like as Black women, we all need vitamin D. So, but sun has benefits for all women and all people. So just being able to just bask in the sun has been very helpful for me. And also my support system has been very key in practicing self-care. So recognizing when people need to be in your circle and allow them to pour into you, whether it's through prayer. Sometimes I need people to like make me laugh so I can connect with my support system who who makes me laugh. Sometimes I need advice spiritually or professionally, so connecting to a support system that can pour into me there. And these are all the things that I've just been trying to be very intentional about since March, and it has helped me a lot. Just be a better person, be a better educator, be a better friend, sister, niece, daughter. So I'm very grateful for that.
I feel like you should write a book. I feel like it's
That's part of my where my mind is. That's part of what I want to do, Shayna. So it's so funny that you actually said that. It's scary almost.
well, no, it's not scary because God works. God works. I tell you, that was so motivational. And the intentional piece is something that I know that I've been practicing a whole lot more. And I do agree with self-care. You have to have self-reflection so that you know what you need to enhance on. It's not a bad thing. I know I've been intentional about forgiving people. And I've been practicing that for 5 years. And when I say forgiving people, if they didn't ignite something in me that helped with my growth, I needed to forgive them for that because they're not to blame for it, but I was actually putting myself in a position where I was mad at them and that was wrong. And so I had to forgive them for it as well as forgive myself. So being intentional about things is so important. So I applaud you, Dr. Dean. That is awesome. Write that book, write that book. All right, Lydia, you're up next.
All right. So my self-care actually didn't start when COVID hit. My self-care came about actually my first year here teaching in Dallas. It was a very, very strenuous time. I had just moved, like no sooner than I moved, a week later, I was teaching. I started in summer school. So I had no time to really gather myself. So I went in already anxious, nervous, and it was a lot. So then school starts and it is completely completely different than what I'm used to. I'm used to a Christian background, students that give you absolutely no issues. You know the family history, you know what you're getting into, versus going into a very urban area and it's just a complete 180. So it took a lot out of me because I'm so used to submersing myself into my students and being given and understanding everything, that now I was on a different end of the spectrum and I felt like I couldn't relate to my students, to their parents, to their situation, because it was something I wasn't used to. And it became very frustrating, and I felt like I was failing. I felt like I was failing them. I felt like I was failing myself, and I felt like I was spiraling. And as I was walking down the hall one day, one of the older teachers, she grabbed me and she just said, "Look, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of these babies." She was like, "I know how you're feeling." She said, "But what you're going to have to do is you're going to figure out how to take care of yourself first before you come in this building every day." Hadn't even thought of that. That had never crossed my mind. And I looked at her and she said, "There's no way you can win this fight, come in here and do this battle every day if you're not prepared." And it made me stop and think. She said, "You're going to have to figure out how to prepare yourself." She said, "If you need a prayer partner, I'm here. If you need somebody to talk to, it's a group of us. If you just need to sit in your room 30 minutes before the bell every morning, do that." She said, "But you have to prepare yourself." So that started me on my journey of self-care, because she made me realize I have to take care of me. So I sought out, well, what is it that I need to take care of myself? And I know how I am. I don't like people in my space first thing in the morning, whether they kin to me, my kids, my husband, whomever. I just need me. That's how I've always been. So in the morning, everybody knows, don't talk to me about the first 30 minutes. I just need it. I need it to be completely quiet around me. I don't want to have to make a decision. I don't want to have to pick out clothes. I don't want to have to think about anything. I need that first 30. It's my time to pray, to get my thoughts together, to just love on me, to give myself that time to say, you're going to have a great day. You're going to be productive. You're going to do the best that you need to do. Whatever you can't finish today, there's tomorrow or the day after. I had to learn that, because I'm the type, when I start something, I want to go ahead and finish it. But sometimes life doesn't allow you that. And I had to learn that's okay, because that would stress me out a lot too. So I had to learn to let things go. And especially when you work in a bigger district, I had to learn I can't accomplish everything. There's no way. And once I figured that out and figured out the time that I need, and then I found a prayer partner. She's also on my team. And they call us twins because we both about the same height, both naturals and everything. So when you see one, you see the other. And it has given me so much strength, because even though I like to be alone, you still need someone to be there with you, and vice versa. Whether you need to talk, whether I need to take a minute from my class and just go pray for a second, it makes a world of difference. And so as COVID hit, I was in heaven. I don't know about everybody else, but I was in heaven, because now it's just me. I don't have to hear somebody else asking me, well, what are you going to do about this? Or I need this, I need that. It didn't bother me as much because I was in my own space, and it gave me time to sit and be by myself. Even though I still had to do the virtual and I still had to take care of my students' needs, I could also reflect and worry more about mine because I was in my own space. So this was a blessing because it gave me time to do everything that I already love to do. I get to write more. I get to read more. I get to cook more. I get to spend more time with my kids. And everybody like, well, how do you balance it? And I'm like, it came because I was at ease. And it wasn't something that I had to focus on. It was something that I enjoyed. So my thing with self-care was, if I didn't enjoy it, it wasn't going to be a part of it. And so if I don't enjoy it, no, it can't be in my routine. So I guess for me, self-care is just enjoying life, enjoying where I am, enjoying me. And if it's a person, a thing, a place, anything that keeps me from enjoying me, Shayna, you know me, I'm going to let it go and I won't think anything about it. And so that's been my journey with self-care.
Yes, we are related. We're cousins, first cousins. And I think it must be in our blood because I agree. I got to have an hour to myself too, end of the day and the end of the day. Don't bombard me with everything because I'm going to get it handled, but I just need that time to just woosah, calm down, meditate for a minute and recollect myself and so I can get to the next thing. But I got to have that time. I just have to. That's been me my whole life as well. So that's a part where we share. But I do agree with making sure that you do things that make you happy, and you have to have those things incorporated in your space. I tell myself all the time when I make my Amazon purchases, I am okay. I am happy with my purchases. And I mean, it's very rare that I'm not, but that's something that I had to incorporate with everything that I do. That once more, I'm intentional about the things that I am allowing in my space and that it brings me joy, not the wrong, crazy joy, but it brings me a balance that I am satisfied with and I won't have any regrets about it. So I applaud you there. All right. Ms. Lucas, you're next.
Hey, so many things that you guys shared really resonated with me. Lydia, I also, you talked about in Dallas when you started, just like not having self-care as a priority. And that was a big problem for me whenever I changed careers from marketing to education. I mean, at my job that I left, I could take an hour and a half lunch if I wanted. I had a morning routine that I would like do a facial steam, put my face in cold water, do like all the things. And so self-care looks so different now in my late 20s than it did when I was younger. My first 2 years of teaching, self-care for me just didn't exist. I would wake up manic about work and I would work until 11 or 12 and go to sleep and start over. And they say like you just can't pour from a cup that's empty. And so self-care started to come back into my life in my third year with teaching, but with COVID and then moving during a pandemic, canceling a wedding during a pandemic, starting a new job, it's just become really clear that self-care is more than just like making sure your face and your skincare is nice, but like investing in yourself as a human. So for me, starting a new job, something that I've been really pushing myself to do is like work on myself and be vulnerable and open to sharing that work with other people. So I did an anti-racism training with my new school and found a group. It's the Joy White Anti-Racist Educators Caucus. And we are reading White Supremacy in Me by Lydia Said. And it's just a group where we come together, we talk about ways that we can dismantle our white privilege, how that looks in our schools and ourselves. So just like doing that work, it's an investment in like making myself a better human, but also making connections with other people, I think during this time is really important for me. Other than that, I also like to paint my nails and I paint. So if I'm doing good in my life, I know because I've like sat down and painted at least once in the past week. Like you said, just something that you enjoy and taking the time to do it is really important for us workaholics.
Yeah, and I applaud you as far as the transitioning. You've had several transitions in the midst of this, and to keep a level head, you definitely had to have that. And I agree with just connecting with others during this time. I I stay to myself. But I noticed that I needed still to be social. So I know everybody else is probably zoomed out, but I've embraced it. I'm just like, oh, what more can I do? What more can I do with the Zoom? And so I'm excited with that because that is allowing me to be more involved socially than I probably would have been in person. So it is important to connect with others because, as I stated before, we are like-minded. We share a common bond here. And you never would have known that had this platform today not happened. And so it's important to just get with other people and see what's going on with them and see some similarities and be encouraged and inspired as well. So great job with that. All right, Miss McClendon, you're up.
All right. So, life in general has a way of allowing you to lose yourself. And never mind joining in this educational realm as a teacher, you tend to get lost even more because your focus tends to shift some. So prior to COVID, I too, like Kelly, I'd gotten to the habit where every 2 weeks I was going to get my nails done and my pedicures done, and that was just one of those ways. It felt good to just sit and relax and be pampered on. I even, with the feeling of the need to recharge, started attending weekly Bible studies just to get that feed and that feel. And it was with family. So then not only do you have the spiritual recharge, you have the family connection and that recharge, which felt good. Um, I am a traveler by nature. So if you say, let's go, if I don't care if it's a thought or if it's a stutter, I have, even if it's just a backpack, I'm ready to go. So with this summer, even with the midst of COVID, I still managed to get in my car and drive those 10 hours to Ohio to be with my mom. Um, didn't realize how much I missed that self-pamper until about 2 weeks ago when I finally went and had a pedicure done. But but I, like most of you, when I start my day, especially during the working seasons, I need that time by myself. So even if that means arriving to work early, people that have worked with me, they know if my lights are off, either I'm there, maybe I'm not there, but chances are 90% I'm there. But that's my time to just be me. I don't care if I'm flipping through my phone, or if I'm eating my breakfast, or if I'm listening to some music. That literally is my time, because once we really hit the ground running with our days in the classroom, there's no stopping until the end. And sometimes lunch is even missed. Um, we definitely we don't even think about the small luxuries in life that we take for granted when we're inside of the school buildings. Even at the end of the day, when I come home, I just sit in the car. My car has become a safe haven, just to relax and debrief. And I know it's time to come in when I start to feel myself getting sleepy. um, but it's just whatever has started to make me happy. This summer has been, I've spent a lot of time in reflection. Um, I've learned to kind of deal with some stuff. It's not all good stuff, but hey, we have to learn to face it front on. But the biggest thing, I've learned to say no. And it's not just no to other people, but sometimes telling myself no has been the biggest thing. And I know that's going to be my hardest feat moving forward, um, but this feeling that I have now, this where I feel a little happier than I have, in the past with just saying no, a two-letter word. So, if it's no longer things that's coming forward to me in my life, no, you know, just learning those little things and keeping myself encouraged. But um, definitely learning how to, and have learned how to instill in myself a lot more and embrace those joys that I get with each one.
All right. It's so important to look at, to take baby steps. You don't need to take major leaps to incorporate a level of to be more happy. You can't go from 0 to 10 in that. I applaud you for taking the baby steps, for recognizing what you needed to do in order to bring a bit of change, of happiness, and shift that for you. So I applaud you on that, Ms. McClendon. And I've been just really apprehensive of even trying to get in the car and go anywhere, because I'm just like, nah, I don't want to be tempted. Because I might forget something as far as my mask and things of that nature. But I'm still trying to figure that out. So I need to get some tips from you on how to really be successful with the traveling piece during this time. All right. So I have another question for you all. You all are women of faith, and I would love to know, how does your faith connect you with your purpose-driven career as educators, and how do you stay motivated? I know we're talking about the pandemic period, but it's prior to this time, because you are here for a reason. And I'm pretty sure you all have identified that. So what is your motivation behind that, and how does your faith incorporate with your career? So we're going to start backwards. We're going to start with Miss McClendon.
So a lot of my new passion and drive has really kicked in about 5 years back, when I first became the president of the Jackson Association of Educators, which is also affiliated with Mississippi Association of Educators. Being really actively involved with them allowed me to see education from another perspective. I got a chance to see things not just on a local level, but on a state level. And then with that experience, I've also been able to do work on a national level. With that, I've been trained with Common Core. I've also done state trainings with other educators with Common Core. But my biggest victory, I have to say, and keep toting, is I also received on a national level training for restorative justice and restorative practices. And with that, I've been able to bring that back into the district, into our local with our teachers. And really, that work has really been my driving force, because I see the needs, not only of the students, but of educators as well. And serving as president, I had to be that voice for 400 plus teachers that were members of the association. And it was, like I said, it wasn't until then that I really realized my purpose was greater. It wasn't necessarily carrying out the district's mission, because I realized the district couldn't have a true mission until we got things together on the state level. Um, and so that was that pushing there. And besides, I'm so unorthodox, and I think, Shana, you know that after with me working with Caden, but but I've that fear in having that voice just completely went away, because I knew I had the backing, and I wasn't speaking out or doing anything that was against anybody, but it was against education. And it was that fight for education. So with that, I know that there's nothing that I can't do where my faith won't back me. I have that fearless spirit, and I do have faith that people will join in. They always say the right people are there for the right reasons, and whoever didn't show up, well, that's okay. Maybe it'll take another person to spark them. And I'm okay with that, even if it's just one person at a time, one voice at a time. We still have that charge to move forward. And I just believe that, in time, things will work. I can't lose the faith, because if I lose it, then that means I'm no longer a part of it. And I do believe that what I touch and what I bring forward is good. And so if I can continue to spread my good in a way that's non-judgmental, that's not overbearing or overwhelming to people, and they can see my approach to things, and I can shed my light, then we can really move forward. But I have to put it all on the back of my faith, and just know that even though we may not see it now that it is happening. What I see now today is it looks a lot different than what it did a couple years ago. Shucks, even last year. And some of these moves are good. I've been looking for ways that we can do more with technology, and bam, here's COVID. We have no choice, you know? And it's really exposing a lot because we make excuses for a lot. But now, you know, there are no more excuses. It's we have to hit the ground running. So I can't do anything but just embrace this and know that with continued prayer and my beliefs, that things are going to continue to be all right, not just for us as educators, but for the children that we serve and their families.
Awesome, awesome. Lydia?
Um, my faith, I guess, well, it's not I guess, I know. My faith has really led me my entire educational career. Before I started teaching, I was in a really, really, really dark spot. I started in education right after I got married in '09. So between '06 to '09, whoo child, it was a really, it was just a black vortex in my life. And what's funny is I was actually bartending before I started teaching. Baby, I was the best. I was the best bartender. I could hook you a drink up, okay? I was it. And I was actually bartending and I was talking to one of the customers and he was like, "You must be in education." I started laughing. I said, "No." I was like, "Nowhere near. This is what I do." And he was like, "Have you thought about it?" Never. I was like, "No, thank you. I'm good." And he was like, you should really do it. He said, "You sound like you would be a great teacher." Like, what does a teacher sound like? And so leading up to it, I kept getting people saying that to me. And it started to get irritating because I was like, I don't like kids. So I know I don't want to do that. Fast forward a couple of months after I get married, my husband's best friend's wife, it was like, "Hey, one of our teachers needs a co-teacher. You should apply." And Zach was like, "Well, I kind of want you to get out of doing the bartending, kind of focus on something more, use your degree." I was like, "Okay, well, I'll apply." And I ended up getting the job. So it was just like, okay, well, Lord, it's a reason. So I'm gonna go with this. But if I don't like it, I can't do it because I know how I am. So I get into it and it's like a light appeared. It's like I saw so much that I could do and that God wanted me to do. And he started bringing out talents and avenues of reaching students, of reaching parents that I never thought I had. And so when that job ended, I was like, "Okay, well, Lord, where is it that you want me to go now?" He sent me to New Hope. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So it's like he taught me something else there. He showed me something else there. And he kept telling me while I was at New Hope, absorb all of this, get all of this because it's going to be so much more that you're going to need it. And I was just like, okay. So I'm sitting back, I'm taking it all in. And one day he was like, "It's time to go." It's always at the 4-year mark. So I'm kind of scared because this is my 4th year in Dallas. So it's always been 4 years, 4 years there, 4 years at New Hope. And now I'm on my 4th year in Dallas. And when I got to my 4th year in New Hope, he just up and one day said, "It's time to go." And it came abruptly. February, and I was like, "Okay, well, I gotta go." And I told my principal, and she just kind of looked at me. She's like, "You sure?" I said, "I'm sure." And I was like, "Well, Lord, I don't have a job. I don't know anybody out there. What am I gonna do?" Get online, and the first job that pops up is for a teacher position in DISD. I know nothing about it, and I was terrified. I applied. I got it. I moved, was teaching a week later. And everything that I learned and everything that I've seen in Mississippi has shown me and helped me to show others around me that, hey, these students can do so much more than they are given credit for and that the district believes that they can do. They are not a product of where they are, but of what they are exposed to. And if you expose them and then you bring it out, then it can help them grow. And when I first got there, people kept looking at me like, nah, that's not going to work. And what do you mean by that? But I was persistent because God kept telling me, you have to show them different. They may think you crazy. They may think you're going against the grain. They may talk about you about it, but this is your work. And so I have been very, very, very instrumental in doing that daily. When my students come in, they'll tell you, Ms. Branson is not going to play with you. I accept nothing but the best. You're not going to give me mediocrity. And they're looking like, well, they're little kids. I'm like, baby, if they can tell me how to work my phone, what's on social media, and everything that's going on with the world, I know they can do above and beyond what we're giving them. So I push them. And it has been so much joy to hear the parents say, I never knew my child could do that. I never thought my child could do this well. And to have the other teachers like, well, what are you doing? Nothing spectacular, doing what I know that they can do and doing what I've been called to do. And just like Ms. McClendon said, I've been pushing for technology because I noticed that they weren't giving it to the lower grades. And I kept saying, you would be amazed at what more they can do with it. And they kept telling us, well, we got to focus it here and there. So I'm a rebel. I would go sneak and find my own technology. Like literally, I would go through the building and find laptops that nobody was using, laptops they said weren't working. And our IT guy was like, where'd you get a whole set of laptops? I found them. They weren't working. They are now. I found that I do real well fixing technology. Didn't know I had that ability, but hey, I do. Was finding websites and everything for the students to use that the district hadn't even told us, were available and stuff. But I was implementing them, and the other teachers were like, "Well, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that?" So now, even on my team, I'm the tech person. Nobody puts in a ticket anymore. They come find me. They send the kids. My teacher said, "Can you fix?" or "What do we do?" And it's just like, is God has just given me all these paths. And it's like when you see how you can change and inspire people, and you realize it's not me. It has nothing to do with me because I know little old me, I could care less. But it's God using me to do all of that because I'm really to myself. But when I get to work, it's about my kids and wanting to see them succeed. And I wasn't seeing them when I first got there. And I'm just like, and I come from a great school, a really great school, but it was just in one facet. And I was like, and there's so much more that they can do and be great in every facet. And so that has been my mission. And I'm kind of scared this year because I'm like, this year 4, are you going to pull me from this one like you've been doing and send me on something else? So now this year, I guess I'm a little anxious because I'm ready for the school year to start, because I'm ready to start on my virtual classroom. I'm ready to see and help my coworkers with their virtual journey and everything, because I know my phone is already started. My emails have already started, especially my older coworkers. I need your help. And I just want to see the growth, and I want to see the kids grow, because so many people now are adamant that this isn't going to work because they're so used to brick and mortar. And I'm just like, we have to embrace the change, because truth be told, this may be the norm. This may be the new norm. And change hurts. Change is scary, but it has to happen for growth. And these are different children than when we were growing up. This actually is right up their alley. It may not be up the parents' alley, but it is completely up theirs. Completely. And we just have to be willing to meet them where they are. And I've been trying to tell people, you have to take yourself out of yourself and realize it's not about you. I know it's uncomfortable, but you have to meet your students where they are. And I said, and if you look at a lot of them, this is their comfort because this is what they do. And so my faith has shown me that if I step out on it and I just let God lead, great things come about. But I have to be willing to shut Lydia off and let God use me to do everything that he needs me to do.
You spoke a word there. You spoke a word. And we're going to get the next word. Kelly.
So Shayna, that's what I do on Zoom all day. It doesn't matter how many I have. I start talking and I'm on mute. You were asking about faith and motivation, and listening to Lydia, so many things came to mind because she knows where I am. She was there right at the transition. She wasn't there when I became the principal, but just to give you a little bit, when I became the principal, the entire front office was gone, and we were coming up on an accreditation year. So I'm telling you this because when you just consistently see God order your steps and other people's steps on your behalf, you don't have a choice but to be motivated to continue. We had our first accreditation visit a couple years ago, and I was really nervous trying to figure out who is this that's going to come in here that's going to ask me a million questions, and I'm still trying to figure out where all the light switches are in this building. She came to the door. She had a pink and green umbrella in her hand. And I promise you, I knew it was God. I'm an AKA, but I said, in the world that I'm operating in right now, with Christian schools, there are not a lot of African American leaders involved in our association. So the chances that an African American young female AKA would walk through the door. That's why I say it was God. Not because I'm an AKA, but because I know she has to be probably one of 5,000 people that could have walked in the building. And she said to me when we were talking, she said, you should file for an extension. I didn't even know that was an option. And so she came and I filed for an extension and we got it. Obviously, it didn't take much to understand that we needed more time. I just got here. And so when I tried to call her back to say, hey, I got some things together. I want to make sure we're on time for next year. She was gone. And in that moment, I said, God sent her to tell me that I could have an extension. That's just one thing. Like I could tell you a million stories, but the one that speaks the loudest to me right now is that we had the accreditation visit in March. We finished on Wednesday and we left the school on Friday, and we have not been back. So we finished literally on time, like perfectly on time. It was an amazing visit, a lot of tears, and they weren't all mine. The people who came to visit us, they were crying to see what was happening at our school. And immediately after that, the world shut down. And I'm saying, if God is not saying, I am for you, Kelly, I am for you, New Hope, I don't know how much louder he can scream it that I'm on your side. And so that is what motivates me. It's not even, of course, I've been an educator a long time. The kids are going to motivate you. They're just cute, all of them. And so you see their little faces and they love their school and they write their little, I love my principal notes. That's motivating. The notes that you get from the parents that say things like what you were saying, Shayna, about the people who have been involved in your baby's life, that motivates us, But when you start talking about faith and motivation, I'm like, ever since I got on this journey, even my journey to become a teacher and to become a principal, my dream job is to wear leggings and t-shirts every day, to drop my kids off at school and to bring cupcakes and go to the gym and work out, go home and cook and come pick them up and have nice little cookies with their name on it. Like, that's what I would love to do. He has not called me to do that, so I've let that go. But when he keeps showing me that I'm for you, I'm on your side. I mean, even yesterday, it's just, I could tell you a million stories that just point to the fact that he is on our side and that he is for what we're doing. And that is just so motivating to me. And it causes me to want to be able to show up for him like that. So if he's showing up for me constantly, he's going to even make sure that the people I encounter have the right umbrella. Oh my goodness. I've got to do more than what I feel is necessary to make sure that he can count on me, that he says, I put Kelly at that school and Kelly's not going to give up no matter how hard it gets. I'm going to throw COVID her way because I know she can handle it. Even if she doesn't want to handle it. I don't know any educators who want to be here because it's scary. And it's not just scary because of the work. The work is a lot. And anybody who tells you it's not a lot is clearly not doing it. The work is a lot. Moving to school virtually and trying to be everything that we are to people in person is not easy. We don't want to be here. We don't want to be here, but we also don't want our kids sick. We also don't want our grandparents sick. We don't want to hear that. That's more devastating than what we can do. So we stay up all night and all day and we're working on it and we're going to make it be amazing because the truth, what Lydia said is so true. I say it all the time. We have plans, but God orders our steps. We don't know what's going to happen. We can say what we want to happen, but we don't know. Next year, this time, we could be having another village reset saying how we're starting virtually again next year. That's just the reality. And the year after that, because we don't know what's going to happen. But what really keeps me motivated is that if this is where we are, God has proven that he's on our side. We're going to be fine. This is going to be amazing. I think it's pushing everybody, parents, teachers, principals, and even the students. And I'm not going to get on that, but the children need some pressure too, okay? Everybody needs some pressure to be the very best we can be. Everybody's got to be accountable. Everybody's got to be responsible for what part they play. And in virtual education, I just see this as an opportunity for all of us to be on our best job. I mean, you can't half step in front of the camera. There's no side to go figure out what page you're supposed to be on the camera. And so the planning is there and the intentionality, what we've been talking about, is there. And even for the parents, we've got parents buying kids computers who may not have had them, not because they couldn't afford them, but just because that wasn't a priority. But we've got parents doing that. And I see parents who I know aren't making those decisions easily, even in a private school, because sometimes people think private school is for rich kids, and that's just not the case. But even in a private school where I know we have families who are struggling to do what they're doing, they are making those decisions and making those moves to do what they feel is best for their kids. And I'm like, okay, God, COVID is not good. I think we're going to agree on that. It's not good, but there's still so much good in it. And it just motivates me to keep going.
See, I knew you had a word. I knew it. Awesome, awesome. Dr. Dean?
I appreciate listening to everybody's thoughts and ideas of how they use their faith just in their job. And I want to say, Kelly, we're sore, so it's really good to connect when you said pink and green. So I just wanted to say that. But as a kid, I used to research spiritual gifts. I think it was in Corinthians or somewhere where I was like, what is my purpose in life? And this was as a kid. And the spiritual gift that always showed up where I saw myself show up was like the gift of exhortation. And like every step of the way, God has shown me how He's just placed me in people's lives to be a person to build other people up. And simply put, like my purpose and my calling to education is heavily influenced by God just instilling like that helper spirit in me. And I used to bemoan at the fact that like I was sent here to be a helper. Like, what is a helper? I don't have like the most beautiful voice, or I'm not the biggest artist in terms of creativity. I'm a helper. However, just 35 years later, I have become very settled and very appreciative and embrace the fact that God has placed this helper spirit in me, because it helped me just recognize people as people. It recognized the humanity in others, seeing like the good in people, and also just building them up. If I can't do anything else, I can build a person up to make sure like they see they see themselves as the best person. So when I'm lacking in skill set or knowledge of like where to go, of course I'm going to continue to research like problems, solutions to problems. When all that fails, I'm going to build people up. And I'm okay with that, because that's my motivation. My motivation is that there's always going to be somebody or a group of people that God sends in my life to help and to support. The flip side of that is that I can experience compassion fatigue. As a teacher, I experienced that because I was that educator that would go hard for their child, go hard for my students, which caused a lot of burnout. And then it was because I was a teacher that I was motivated to become a counselor, which is like a helper, so to speak, just because I wanted to be better suited to support kids, especially those with emotional needs, or those who just need just a little bit more love. But I do experience compassion fatigue, which is why self-care is so important. But because God has called me to be who I am today in the form of an educator, my faith just helped me keep going. It's hard to keep pouring into people, to kids that don't pour back into you. It is hard to like be that person to always forgive when you're not extended that same grace. So my faith through a long time, like I'm 35 years old and I'm still learning this. I'm not perfect at it, but I know for a fact that my faith in God has helped me to love people anyway, to forgive them anyway. I think, Shayna, you talked about being intentional about forgiving. Sometimes I don't want to forgive people, but my faith called me to forgive people even when they don't deserve it or when they don't apologize. My faith has helped me heal anyway. My faith has just helped me just start over. I see every day as a new day. I see a person having a clean slate every day. That's so important to me. My faith has helped me not to hold on to grudges. My faith has helped me to be resilient and to bounce back when I get those no's, and not right now, and whatever pursuit I have. My faith has helped me to bounce back. My faith has helped me pour into people anyway, even when it's not poured back into me. And that takes a lot of intentionality. It takes a lot of healing on my part, a lot of praying to God, like, again, God. But I think about how much grace He's extended me in my shortcomings and my mishaps and my, like, I did it again, Lord, even though I know I'm trying not to, but He has extended so much grace to me. Um, and I also think about the other part of me. In addition to being a helper, I'm a visionary. I have so many ideas, thoughts about how I want to help people, how I want to move this society forward, how I want to elevate like this anti-racist curriculum, as Miss Christian talked about, how to elevate women in general, how to elevate Black families in general. Like, I'm a visionary, but I also have a barrier of fear and self-doubt that I'm working through. So my faith has kind of pushed me to just keep on creating. I have a lot of things on paper, Miss Harper, that I know God is pushing me to like bring forth into fruition. Um, but I'm working through it. So I'm not perfect, and I'm not saying I have arrived at this place where yes, I got it all together, because I have not, but I am evolving and I'm growing. So my motivation is the fact that I am sure and I am confident of the gifts that God has placed in me, and that whatever opportunity that is placed in front of me, whether it is a whole pandemic, whether it is a failed relationship, where it is like delayed no's, whatever opportunity or whatever comes my way, I'm confident that there's going to be a good under it, and that God is going to show me what is my purpose, when in the midst of all of these things that's going on.
The title of your book will be The Extension of His Grace. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you so much.
All right, Miss Harrington.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You are all such inspiring women, and I'm just like soaking in all of the wisdom y'all are dropping. I have to say, like, the biggest act of faith I think I've ever done was making the decision to quit that cushy job to become a teacher. I I knew that, like, that was my purpose. Like, deep down, I knew, like, I am supposed to be with kids. I nannied a Down syndrome girl in college, and I worked at the Children's Museum in college. And, like, both of those places were, like, that's where I came alive. That's where, even if I was, like, in the darkest place personally, I would walk into that Children's Museum, put on my dinosaur hood or whatever they had, and I was, like, someone else, and I always told people my spirit animal was like an 8-year-old boy. It's like those are the kids at the Children's Museum. Like, I get you. So I, was just like miserable, and I had this career that was like putting food on my plate, but it wasn't like feeding my soul, and so making that decision and that leap of faith was hard. I got offered this job at Smilo Prep in September. They'd already been in school for a month. And so I showed up. These kids had had a substitute for literacy class for a month. It was 5th grade. And all of my training was online to become a teacher. I did online certification through Belhaven. So I'm like walking into a classroom for the first day, for my first day of school, and it's the first time I've even like practiced teaching in person, like it was, and it did not go well at first. I mean, it was so hard. I mean, I could not manage a classroom. I had all of these big ideas of what teaching was going to look like, and it did not look like that. But knowing like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, God wants me to do this. I know it. And just keeping on going. Like y'all said, he orders your steps, but he also orders the people who are put in front of you. People like Dr. Dean, one of my best friends in Moncrief, just the women who I was able to work with and lean on when I needed to, kept me going. And now what keeps me going are like the cadence. The kids who are put into my life that are just like such inspirations to me and bring me so much joy. I mean, I could have the worst day at school, or like, the classroom's a wreck, but at the end of the day, Caden will be like, bye, I love you. Or like getting to Zoom with him. He's not I don't teach him anymore, but getting to Zoom with him and go to the zoo and hear about all of the stuff he's teaching himself about animals. It's like, it's amazing. So I don't know. I know that I'm supposed to work with kids, and I'm going to keep doing it.
And I'm happy that our paths crossed, because when I tell you, I think I would think to myself, oh, I know I thought it. Like, I'm surprised she ain't started crying and screaming and hollering and say I quit, because my nephew is a challenge. and even with Dr. Dean. And it was just like, but they kept pressing and not giving up. Because I've watched teachers give up. There was a teacher that in the past said something to my nephew, well, really to the class. And if he's watching, I'm going to speak the truth. He told the class to go home and tell their parents about this kid to get him out of there. And so it's just like, wow. So, okay, that's what we do. But I didn't allow my crazy to come out. I was just like, God, you're going to handle it. I don't have to handle this. You're going to handle the situation. And then he has continued to order this educational path of steps where he has brought people in that have embraced and have a passion and love and a purpose driven career to know what to do with this child and not put him on the pipeline. Not put him on the pipeline. So I know we've been talking for a while, and this has really just been so encouraging. The questions that I had, you all have really been incorporating them in your answers. And so I'm going to give you one more good question, maybe two. So the next one is, with this virtual experience coming about, how have you, or what have you discovered creatively that you can do virtually? Because I know in the classroom you have your bulletin boards, you can decorate your doors and do all of these things. And now you don't have to do all of that, but now you have to come in front of the screen, in front of the computer, and put some creative things together. So hopefully you all have discovered this. So just kind of talk about some of the things that you've discovered that you can incorporate. And I'm just going to leave the floor open. If you want to answer it, you can. I encourage you to. So whoever wants to go first.
For me, I discovered, well, I already knew. I like art. My students didn't know that because I don't have time like I did past years to do a lot of art for my classroom. Of course, you do bulletin boards, but you usually just put up stuff you already have. But with virtual, they got to actually see me do things. We may be doing something for class and I would draw something out and they'll be like, you did that? Oh, can you teach me? And so to see that using art as a teaching tool, I got a chance to use that more. And I got away from that when I left JPS. I used to use it all the time in JPS, art integration in whatever we could do. But in my district now, I really just don't have the time because everything is so 15 minutes on this, 12 minutes on this, 10 minutes on this, like literally. That's how it goes. It's blocked out. So I don't have the time to do it. But with virtual, I saw that I had more time to do it, and it helped a lot because the students could really, it kept their attention virtually because, doing Zooms or whatever else with little kids, they get sidetracked. They start talking to each other, doing sounds, flipping around at the house, showing everybody their room. So it gave them something to focus on and that they were intrigued in, and also to use as a learning tool. I also learned that, hey, I'm good with making Bitmojis, okay? And doing things with Bitmojis. And I never thought about using Bitmojis because for me, it was just something that I used to have on my Snapchat. So I never thought anything about it until I saw a teacher post. She did a classroom photo using nothing but Bitmoji. She made a Bitmoji for all of her kids. And I was like, ooh, I want to do that. It took me an entire day, okay?
Did you do one for every kid?
I did. Let me find it. Hold on, guys. Let me find it.
Please share.
That had to take forever.
I know, Lucas, but that's something that you probably would do. Right.
I just can't wait till I get my list of kids so I can get.
I love it.
So cute.
Oh,
It's adorable.
I found out that I could actually do Bitmojis. So that was like their parting gift. I sent all of my kids one. And one of my parents was like, I've never had a teacher that actually took out the time to really learn their kids. I hadn't seen them in months, but I could just remember how they dressed, the way they like to wear their hair, little nuances, and they loved it. And so it became a way to relate to them even more, because it was like, my teacher actually pays attention to me. So that was something that I learned about. And also that I like doing stuff digitally, and I like helping other people learn how to do it, because like I said, a lot of teachers are always calling, texting, emailing me, can you help me with this? I don't understand this. I'm trying to look at the training online, but I don't get it. Can you walk me through it? And just being able to help other people doing the digital platform. So I'm gearing back up for that, because I know that this is another thing that I'm going to love doing this year, is to help my fellow teachers grow and embrace this digital platform. Don't be afraid of it. Yes, it can seem overwhelming, but it's doable. And I realized that it's a lot easier when it comes from somebody in the trenches with you versus somebody from the district telling you, well, this is what we're going to do, and they try to explain it to you, because y'all know we see these PowerPoints, these presentations they give us, and you sit in the PD looking like, what? But when you have somebody that's willing to show you and teach you out of a place of love and patience, it makes a world of difference. And I want to be, so I'm going to this year help them with that, because I want to take away a piece of anxiety that doesn't have to be there. You know, we already have enough on our plates. So I want to be that little piece of relief where you won't get so overwhelmed and think it can't be done. So that's mine.
Awesome. That is neat. That is very, very neat. Wow. I know for me as a social worker, I recall in undergrad at Tougaloo when it came, and plus we were just really trying to get into the whole, I'm not old, but we were trying to get into the whole tech thing with Word and PowerPoint. And I was just like, I'm not doing it because I won't ever need that. And I didn't know I was going to be a social worker either at that time. And so I was not trying to embrace that. Fast forward to grad school, I started liking PowerPoint. Fast forward to now, I love PowerPoint. Put some stuff together to be creative, to do it on my terms. I absolutely love that. So I know you all probably, I don't know, but hopefully you all will be incorporating some of that with the learning as well, because I know Canvas and Google Classroom and things of those that nature, those platforms will be utilized. So yeah, and I hope somebody taps in on this, because I learned about it through Smilo in the spring about the virtual tours.
Mhm.
I've been hearing great things about it. I've actually been on one, and it's just like, yeah, I probably would never have gone to this place, but now I feel like I have gone because of this experience right now. So
Like virtual field trips, sort of.
it's, yeah.
Yes, that's something that I started doing in the spring. I was really just looking for ways to keep a sense of community with my students and build, like, you know, that human connection that's missing, or just to have fun with them, because we gave them enough work to do, you know. And um, the field trips were something that got everybody so excited. They all wanted to come. We did a Disney World field trip, and it was this teacher, and kind of speaking to Lydia's point, I think it's so important right now that teachers are sharing with each other their ideas and their resources. It's not a time to like show off. It's a time to like share. So I got this PowerPoint that some teacher in Georgia made, and it was a Disney World field trip. It was made for third grade, but it was like, this is our agenda. We start here, and it's like YouTube videos where you're on the ride, but then we stopped for lunch at the restaurant, and there are like some little math problems where the kids figure out how much money they have, how much it costs to buy this, this, and this. And it was just so fun. The kids loved it. We also do, Kaden and I love to go to the zoos and the aquariums. And I think experiences like that, especially for a kid, but even for an adult, it's like a bonding experience. You feel like you're together experiencing something. You're not just like talking on Zoom. Yeah, it's been so much fun. We also did a movie day after we finished a book. We watched Cleopatra. Nadia was one of the ones. That movie is like 4 hours long. It's the one with Elizabeth Taylor. I got a bunch of fifth graders to sit there and watch the whole thing somehow. I did not think they were going to. We did it over 3 days. But yeah, I just think incorporating as many fun activities and the extra time that you have with your students is really important right now.
I would say for me, technology is life. I love anything dealing with technology. My motto is work smarter, not harder. And technology is one of those things that allows me to do that. Um, Most of the things that I've created over the summer not have been because I wanted to, but I'm one of those, I just want to see if I can do it, and type of people. So I've tapped into the little Bitmoji slides and how to make them interactive for my students and for the parents. And I'm sitting here now looking for a escape room, a digital escape room for the first couple weeks of school, so we can not only get to know each other, but help the kids navigate some of the things that they're going to be asked to do. But then, still keep it airy and light, because even though we are using Zoom and Google Classroom, it's like we can utilize the features, but now it's almost they're slapping restrictions on us. Well, don't leave the kids in a breakout room, or don't leave kids in a breakout room unattended. It's like, well, then what's the purpose of having small groups? If we can't jump in and out of the breakout rooms. But still, that's my challenge, because I love a good challenge. So um, I'm actually excited. I may be one of the few educators in my building right now that's excited. I'm getting a ton of phone calls. Hey, how much do you charge the tutor? Like, why am I charging the tutor? No, not children, us adults. We need to know how to do this. So it's like, well, no, I think we can do some bartering, because I know there are some things that you have that I need, and by all means, if I can help show, then that's what I'm going to do. No charge. We just trade. But I'm definitely looking forward to this venture. I would definitely love that Disney field trip, because that's something that I do want to be able to let the kids look forward to, as far as being able to go somewhere, because we can't. Never mind what they do at home with their parents. I want them to have some experiences with me. So as their teacher, and really embracing this school experience that is now different. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how far we can go and grow with technology.
When Shayna posts this on Facebook, I'll put the link to that Disney field trip in the comments for y'all.
Great, thank you.
I don't have as many practical ideas, but I do want to say this, what this virtual experience has taught me is that there's so much possibility in this moment. There's possibility to build human connections and community virtually. I would say through the trainings that I've done with my school, I've learned more about the people that I'm going to work with, um, more so now virtually than I would have done if we were in the building together. And I think that speaks a lot to this opportunity of this virtual experience. Two, I have embraced this new normal, for what it is. And I don't know who said this. This may be our new normal or the norm for a really long time. So it's great to just leverage it in the moment. So for kids, our school is pushing independence, building up a skill set where they can feel free to be creative and feel free to just take ownership of their own learning. So we're just pushing that, and we have like specific objectives for them to become independent. For parents, they are learning more about how to support their scholars at home, as opposed to relying solely on a school. I know some parents have reached out to me and just say, I don't I didn't realize how much y'all do, but they're realizing this aspect, Shannon, you mentioned before about this village, and how important it is. And I'm excited too, to learn from educators of how to do things differently, but also creatively. I think, Miss McClennan, you said, let's see how far we can go and grow. And I really love that. So I'm going to steal it because I think this is just a perfect opportunity to see how our society, our world can go and grow through this. And even outside of educationally, I think about the racial tensions and the climate that, in the political climate that we're in right now. I think more people are realizing the importance of their voice, whether it's virtually or even if it's like physically going to a protest. And I think we're going to see some really positive, I'm hoping and praying we see some positive changes, not only in the education realm, but like politically, and in terms of activism as well, because we now have an opportunity to build activists in our kids as well with this virtual learning space.
Amen.
I guess I'm the last one to speak on it. I feel like, again, listening to all of you and with the things that I know we've been learning and sharing at our school, I think that we're just in a great position to really, 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 really stretch ourselves to do the most that we could ever do for children. Our opportunities are really endless. We already have everything we need. And that's the part that I'm so thankful about, because there's already Zoom and there's already Google Classroom, and we don't have to go and try to create those things. We just have to accept it and use it for our abilities. We're still doing dance class, and kids were still taking soccer, and children are still taking foreign language. Those things don't have to go anywhere because we can't physically be together. And so I'm just thankful that virtually we can do anything. I mean, really, I'm not trying to be corny, but we really can't virtually do anything. We really can do anything. And these children, someone said it earlier, it may not be super convenient for the adults, but the children sit in front of the TV all day anyway if they have a choice. They are on the iPads all day anyway if they have a choice. And so, not that we'll have them on iPads all day or in front of the screens all day, but I don't know that the children are going to complain. I can speak for the three I have, and I know that one day soon, I pray, when we are able to come back together, convincing them to come is going to be the struggle, because they are having a ball at home. They get to kind of lounge around and they get to be with their parents a lot. And I know this isn't the question, but I just see it as a blessing. I really do. I see it as a blessing, an opportunity for us to really go beyond the norm, to do whatever. So we got bit emojis and I don't know if is it gifts or gifs. This is a conversation every time I hear it. Okay, but anyway, we have that. We have PowerPoints. We have so many ways to make this fun and interactive for kids. Our school will be using Nearpod. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh my goodness. The kids are like drawing on the page. It's so much. There's so many opportunities for these kids to have fun. I think we just have to embrace it, accept it, and then the way we communicate it to the children just matters so much. If we're down and okay, that's how the kids are gonna feel. But if we say, hey, you get to have your pajama bottoms on with your school top and some flip-flops, and nobody will even know. I can sneak you cookies in between math class, and you just put your little video off for a second and you can have a snack in the middle of class. Like, who doesn't want to do that? It's all about, how we communicate it to these kids. So I'm excited. I think virtually we're going to do some great things. We really are. And then the last thing I wanted to say, Kristen said it, I think. This is not the time for like show offs. Nobody's a superhero. Nobody wins this year. Like I've been saying it all spring. I'm like, hey, nobody's school is going to win. You know, sometimes even though we don't say it, there's like this unspoken competition between whose school can do it the best, or whose fundraiser is going to be the best, or how many kids are going to post about this on Facebook, or how many likes are we going to get. Nobody's getting any likes. Nobody's winning this year separately, but I'm like, together we can all win. I'm like, it's not just us. You know, a lot of times, especially with us being in Mississippi, sometimes it is just us. Sometimes the whole world has moved on over here and Mississippi is still over here. But I'm like, y'all, it's not just us this time. It's everybody. It's everybody. So if we could all just kind of get on the same page, and like you're saying, sharing. I can't wait to see the Disney trip, because now my mind is moving. And I'm like, all these videos I have from Opryland and the Grinch ice exhibit, oh yeah, we're going to make them field trips for the kids. And that's what we need, just some collaboration so we can make it happen.
Yes, and collaborations are so important. And that's the reason why I brought you ladies to the table, whether it be public school, whether it be charter school, whether it be private school. It's school. And I think it's important that we collaborate and bridge whatever gap that society has placed there. We don't have to worry about that right now. We're all in the same gang. We're doing the same thing. We're trying to accomplish the same goals. And so I applaud you ladies that even with through this, you all are still motivated. You still have the purpose in mind in the forefront, and you haven't lost that one bit. And that is just awesome. I also want to say that as a parent, co-parenting, I have created and still working on it because I've gotten some more ideas on how to make the learning environment at home as fun and as inviting as possible, because it's important. Don't just give your child a laptop and put them in the kitchen. We did that in the spring. It was new. But now it's like, okay, we're setting up a space. Do you need a mouse instead of just having to use the pad on the laptop? I almost have it replicated as to how my workspace is, because I work from home. And so just making sure that you have the lighting and that you have pencils and even the snack. I'm just going to put them right there in front. So they will have their bags, eating the little snacks. We can incorporate healthy snacks at the same time. And just making it where they're going to get up and say, I'm ready for school. Like, yes, that's what I want you to do. And that's how I want you to be. And so that's what I give to the parents, just making sure that you are bringing it in and making it fun to them, because I'm going to be here. I want this table, our workspace, to just be of happiness and joy and learning. And so I just once more applaud you all. I want to ask you this one last question. What do you all think about coming back together in the next few weeks, or even next month, to just kind of dialogue again about this? Because I want to make sure that you all have the support, not only just from myself, but through with each other. You know, this is your first time for most meeting each other. And I'm going to pass you all's information as far as email, put you all on the email together, because it's important, as I stated, to collaborate and to share, because we're all in this together. So we're going to go ahead and end this. Any final comments that you all would like to give as far as encouraging each other here on the panel, as well as your teachers that are watching, fellow educators and co-workers and things of that nature? Anything positive and encouraging you would like to give as we close this out?
Well, thank you, Shana, for bringing us all together. And it was so nice to meet you guys. I know some of your school starts really soon, so I just wish you guys the best start to the school year. Like Kelly said, the better our mindset, the more positive we go into it, the better it will be. So have fun.
Keep an open mind and be intentional about being joyful or receiving joy during this time.
I say, trust God and know that He has a plan. He didn't drop us off in COVID-19 and go back on His throne to forget about us. He has a plan, and even in the uncertain times and in the bad times and there'll be some hard days. I know that we'll probably, I'm looking forward to us coming back together because I know that we'll have some more stories to share. But even in those times, you know, when we say that we trust God, we really got to do it and give Him a chance to show up for us and to do the things that we can't do for ourselves and that we probably couldn't do in a building, but that He may be able to do for us on the computer. And just embrace that and enjoy it. Have fun. I think it's going to be fun.
I would like to say, um, be patient. Be patient with yourself. Um, Laugh a little bit more because we're going to definitely make mistakes. It's not going to necessarily be the easiest thing, you know, in the grand scheme of things. When we think about it, it's perfect, you know. And when we start to take those steps, we might have to say, uh-oh, but that's okay, you know. So be kind to yourself. Um, know that it is a learning process, one day at a time. 1 second, if we start at the minute, 1 second to 1 minute to 1 hour to the 1 day to 1 week. It's okay, but just be patient, be kind to yourself, and laugh.
Don't beat yourself up because you're not perfect and you don't know it all. Go in it just like you're one of the students. We're all learning together, and enjoy it. Enjoy the time. Enjoy the learning. Enjoy your students. Enjoy yourself. And yes, it's going to be scary, but like I tell my students, what roller coaster isn't? And clearly, we're on one. You know, it's scary, but when you get off, you're like, oh my God, that was so much fun. Enjoy this and take everything that comes at you and learn the lesson and learn and enjoy it and hold it, because you're going to look back and be like, I survived that and I learned this and I learned that. So just enjoy it.
All right, ladies. Well, thank you all for taking the time out to come and speak at Push Reset. I had to remember the name of my group, Push Reset. We will be posting this on Facebook Live as well as YouTube. So definitely watch this, and it's a lot of lessons, a lot of great positive feedback that was presented. So watch this over and over again if you need to. Please be on the lookout for updates on the next time that we will be meeting. And I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a good one.